Hey, hello and welcome to my low effort exporting guide. By the end of this video, you'll have an FBX file that includes the mesh, armature, shape keys, and a separate file for your textures. I'm going to be importing specifically into Unity, but I'm guessing the process will be somewhat similar for other programs. And just a reminder, if you're using the V5 release version, that is the 5.0.0 version, this process is not going to be compatible with the Rigify armature, so you can do some stuff like baking the materials into an atlas, but right now you're going to have to figure out the rest yourself. Okay, let's get into it. So just open the panel here and you'll see an export button. Each of these options have a little tooltip that tells you what it does, so you can mouse over any of these and choose what you want. Since I'm going to be exporting to Unity, I'm going to use the
Unity VRM compatible
option because this option
reparents the bone hierarchy to be Unity compatible.
This option also merges a lot of bones using cats, so it might take like 5 or 10 minutes before it's finished. Alright, nice. So the prep work is out of the way, but now the material templates in the shading tab need to be baked into image textures. There's a button on the panel for that, so just click on the button and choose a folder that you want to store these textures into. So I'm probably going to do like baked materials folder and go inside of it, and then just click this button. And if I actually open up that folder, you can see that the script is generating files for every material. It's going to create the light version, the dark version, and the normal version for each material in the material list. So these textures can be applied to the model using the Apply Bake Materials button. So just click on that and then go to the same folder that you just stored all those materials into. Oops, I forgot to click on the actual objects. Let me do that again. And this will add a chain of nodes at the end of each material. So if you go back to the shading tab, you can see that the baked image goes up through all these nodes here, and the original material is on the left here, left untouched. If you want to compare the original material to the baked material, you can do that by using this mix slider on the top here. So if it's set to 1, then the baked material is going to go through to the material output, and if it's set to 0, then the original material is going to be sent to the material output. Sometimes the baked image comes out a little blurry, so if you want to rebake something at a higher resolution, then just set the slider to 0, then go back to the Bake Material Templates button, and just increase the bake multiplier to 2 or 3, and this will bake it at twice or 3 times the original resolution. So let's just bake that, and then apply it again. And now that the eye material is baked at twice the resolution, you can see that it's really close. There is one snag to this, and that is if you created a new UV map to position your hair correctly. The second UV map doesn't show up in the baked version of the material because I have no idea how to bake more than one UV map at a time. The easiest workaround I found for this is to take the hair pieces and select them in edit mode. So I'm going to select this, and then there was also some shine around the front, so I'm just going to select all this. Then I'm going to press Shift G to select by material. And then can just duplicate this entire material. So, oh my gosh. So this is what the duplicate looks like. And then I'm going to separate the material. So now we've got a second hairpiece here that is going to be just the shine. So I'm just going to call this shine. And this object needs to have just the hair shine again. So let's get rid of all these materials. And also let's turn on the outline modifier so that it's just above the hair. And wow, this is kind of hard to see. Let me turn this down. So I'm going to give it a new material. Delete that. And then just go to any of the hair materials and then just copy these two like groups at the end of it. Paste it in. And then you can just take this hair highlights node and plug it into the output. That looks a little dark. So let me add a hue node and turn up the value to like 2, 3, 5. Okay, 5 looks okay. Okay, so this is the hair shine. The white parts are going to be the shine and the black parts are going to be transparent, so you can see the hair under the shine. And that can be done by adding a mix shader and using the white and black portions of this as a factor. And then things actually need to be plugged into these two shader nodes. So I'm going to use an RGB node for the white portion of the white portion of the factor. And I'm going to use a transparency shader for the black input. So that's the setup. You just need a mix shader, a transparency BSDF, and an RGB node connected like this, going into the material output. Then this material just needs to be set to alpha blend, like that. And here you can see that the outline is completely separated from the actual hair. One thing to note, you actually need to take the hair UV map and rename it. So we don't need the original UV map. Let's get rid of that. Let's rename this to UV map. And then also go into the hair highlight positioning group and change that back to UV map. Okay, perfect. You can just take the shine, control click on the body, and then just join them together. Now let me just rebake this with the shine this time, and I will reapply it. And now that that's all applied, you can see that the final material in the material list, which is just the hair shine, bakes correctly. And you can also just take these portions that are completely transparent and delete them if you want to, because you don't really need them. I'm also going to rename this material to hair shine so I don't forget what it is. So let's say you're satisfied, you got the hair highlights set up and everything. Now you need to take the textures and bake them into an atlas. You can do that by going to the Cats tab, and there is an optimization panel here. Just click on the generate material list, and it will give you a list of all the materials in your material list. I usually keep most of the materials on layer 1, but special materials like the eyeline up, eyeline down, eye whites, eyes, and the nose I usually put on layer 2. I also put hair highlights on layer 2, but this character doesn't have hair highlights, so I'm not going to do that. I also like putting hair by itself on layer 3, so let me scroll down here to the hair highlights, and then just get all of these on layer 3, and all of these as well, and that looks good. If you have special things like, say, metal accessories, then you would put those on layer 4, 5, 6, and so on. Once you've got everything separated into layers, you can click the Save Atlas button, and then you can just save this anywhere. So the atlas generated successfully. Again, I have 3 material slots because I chose 3 layers. So this is going to be the base layer. This is going to be the layer with all of the semi-transparent materials like the eyes and the hair highlights. So let me rename that to transparent. And this last layer is going to contain the hair. So I'm just going to name this hair. And you can make sure that the transparent material is working by going down here and setting the blend mode to alpha blend. Looks like it's working to me. And on this base layer, I'm just going to disable backface culling so you can see the cape again. Okay, great. So this is the light atlas. Now you need to get the dark atlas. So you can do that by going to the undo history and then going back to the step before you created the atlas. So this is the step after I created the atlas. So I'm going to go to this one. And now that I'm back here, I can go to the KKBP tab, select the dark atlas, load that in, and I can go back to cats and then just save the atlas again. And this will give me the dark version of the atlas. And for clarity, I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm going to disable backface culling. First layer is my base layer. Second layer is my transparent layer. And the third layer is going to be my hair layer. And the transparent layer is going to be set to alpha blend. You can also do this for the normal atlas if you want to, but I'm going to skip that step because I'm not going to use it. Once you've got all your atlases, you can go back to the Cats tab and choose the Export Model option. If you're exporting for VR chat or some kind of VRM software, then just hold on a second because I've got one more thing before you hit the export button. And that last thing is the Visemes tab, which you can use to generate Visemes. The shape keys I've been going with are mouth A big, mouth O big, and mouth I big, just up here. Then I'm just going to click on the Create Visemes button, and here they are on the Shape Keys tab. So it looks like it worked pretty good. I like them. Once you have your Visemes, I also recommend deleting the shape keys that you aren't going to use, because if you leave it like this, then you're going to wind up with a 500 megabyte file when you import it into Unity. Deleting the shape keys can bring the file size down to a more reasonable 50-ish megabytes. Okay, so I've slimmed this down to, I guess this is like 50. And then I'm just going to click the export model button and export it with the default settings. Oh, jeez. Okay, so in Unity, let's make a new project. Going to use the 3D template. So I'm going to be using the UniVRM Unity package to generate a VRM file, but it should be pretty similar for generating whatever VRChat needs. Okay, so let me just import these. And yes, I'm going to import all these. Right, so these Atlas files need to be applied to this model using a toon shader, and UniVRM actually comes with its own toon shader. So I'm just going to make a new material and find the UniVRM mtoon material right here. And I'm also going to change the rendering type to cutout. Then the lit and the shade colors can be set by just dragging in the atlases into the little box here. So there's the light atlas, there's the dark atlas, and you also want to make sure that the shade color is actually pure white, or it's going to affect how the actual dark atlas looks. So what did I have in Blender? I had a base layer, a hair layer, and a transparent layer. So I'm going to need 3 materials. So let's make this the base layer. Then I'm going to Control D, duplicate that, duplicate it one more time, get 3. This will be the hair material, and this will be the transparent material. And on the transparent material, I'm going to change the rendering type from cutout to transparent. And if you also have very large atlases like I do, you need to click on the actual file and then go to the max size and just turn it all the way up. I'm going to do that for both of these. Okay, cool. Now I'm just going to go to the model and set the 3 materials. So I'm going to put base layer on base layer, put hair on hair. I'm going to put transparent on transparent. Then I'm going to apply that. Okay, and then in the rig tab, this just needs to be changed to humanoid. And then I'm going to apply it as an invalid avatar rig configuration. Seriously? Okay, I'm just going to ignore this error and click on configure. Okay, so it looks like it didn't actually detect the left leg for some reason, so I'm just going to fill these in. And the right leg is also wrong, so I'm going to change this. Now on the head, it's better to use texture offsets instead of eye bones, so I'm just going to none these out. And I'm also going to remove the bone for the chin. Then I'm just going to check the left hand, looks good. Right hand looks good. Sometimes if you have like a ring on a finger, then those bones will break. So just make sure that these are set correctly. And once everything is set up, it can be tested in the Muscles and Settings tab. Okay, let's see if everything works correctly. Oh, that hat is on wrong. Okay, let's try that again. Now that the hat is actually parented to the head. So I think that's gonna work. Just gonna hit done. And you can also add the outlines and junk like that by going to the mtoon material and going to the outline. And I think it's screen coordinates. Just turn that up or down. You can add a rim to the hair by also using the mtoon material. Yep, I totally forgot how to do this. Something like that. Okay, I guess that wasn't the best example, but I'm sure you get the idea. At this point, you should be able to add spring bones, eye tracking, and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, that's it. I hope that was enough to get you started.